Humanity is not the first intelligent civilization to inhabit Earth. For over a century, we've believed that human civilization began roughly 12,000 years ago with the advent of agriculture. We were completely wrong. In the past 5 years, breakthrough discoveries have revealed geological signatures, technological artifacts, and isotopic anomalies that can only be explained by the existence of at least 8 distinct advanced civilizations that rose and fell long before humans ever picked up their first tools. We're not talking about primitive hunter-gatherer societies or early human settlements. We're talking about technological civilizations that mastered engineering, left massive industrial signatures in rock layers, and may have achieved capabilities that surpass our current technology. The most disturbing part, each of these civilizations vanished completely, leaving only subtle traces that required cutting-edge detection methods to uncover. Dr. Gavin Schmidt from NASA's Goddard Institute has called this discovery the most significant paradigm shift in our understanding of planetary history since the acceptance of plate tectonics. The Silurian hypothesis, initially proposed as a thought experiment, has become a framework for identifying these lost worlds hidden in plain sight within Earth's geological record. What makes this revelation even more staggering is that we almost missed it entirely. The evidence was there all along, embedded in ice cores from Antarctica, preserved in unusual mineral formations, and hidden within isotopic signatures in ancient rock layers. But until recently, we didn't know what we were looking for. It took a combination of advanced spectrometry, climate modeling, and archaeological techniques to piece together a story that fundamentally changes everything we thought we knew about our planet's high story. Tonight, we're diving deep into the most closely guarded scientific discovery of the 21st century. You'll discover why each of these 8 civilizations left such different signatures, how scientists can distinguish between natural geological processes and technological activity from millions of years ago, and what these findings reveal about the cyclical nature of intelligence on Earth. More importantly, you'll understand what this means for our own civilization and why some researchers believe we may be living through the 9th iteration of planetary intelligence. The journey we're about to take will challenge every assumption you have about human uniqueness, the age of technology, and our place in the grand timeline of Earth's history. We'll explore evidence that includes massive artificial structures buried beneath sediment layers, isotopic ratios that could only result from industrial-scale nuclear activity, and climate signatures indicating controlled atmospheric manipulation on a planetary scale. But perhaps the most profound question raised by these discoveries isn't about the past, it's about the future. If 8 advanced civilizations have already risen and fallen on Earth, what does that tell us about the sustainability of technological intelligence? What patterns emerge from their rises and collapses? And most critically, are we destined to follow the same trajectory, or can we learn from their ultimate fate? Before we begin this exploration, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel and hit the thumbs up button if you're ready to have your worldview fundamentally altered. And here's a question that might keep you thinking long after this video ends. If you could send one message to the civilization that comes after us, what would it be? Comment below. I'll pin the most thought-provoking answer. The implications of what we're about to discuss extend far beyond archaeology or geology. These discoveries force us to reconsider the Fermi paradox, challenge our assumptions about technological development, and raise uncomfortable questions about the long-term survival of any species that achieves advanced technology. Each of the 8 civilizations we've identified represents a different approach to planetary stewardship, technological development, and social organization. Their diverse fates offer us a unique laboratory for understanding the possible trajectories of intelligent life. What's most remarkable about this research is how it emerged from seemingly unrelated fields of study. Climate scientists studying ancient ice cores noticed unusual atmospheric compositions that couldn't be explained by known geological processes. Geologists examining mineral formations discovered artificial isotopic signatures buried in rock layers millions of years old. Archaeologists applying new scanning technologies to previously unexplored regions began identifying geometric patterns and artificial structures at depths that challenge conventional timelines. The convergence of these independent lines of evidence has created an entirely new field of study, what researchers are calling deep archaeology or paleogeological intelligence detection. This discipline combines traditional archaeological methods with advanced geological analysis, atmospheric chemistry, and even astrobiology techniques borrowed from the search for extraterrestrial life. Hidden layers. The story of Earth's lost civilizations begins to point for miles beneath the Antarctic ice sheet and core sample that shouldn't exist. In 2019, Dr. Elena Vasquez was analyzing atmospheric composition data from the Vostok ice core when she noticed something that made her question everything she knew about planetary history. Embedded within ice layers dating back to 0.8 million years were microscopic particles containing isotopic ratios that defied every natural explanation. The particles contain traces of refined metals, synthetic polymers, and most disturbingly, artificial radioactive isotopes that only occur as byproducts of controlled nuclear reactions. Dr. Vasquez initially assumed contamination from modern drilling equipment, but extensive testing ruled out any contemporary source. The isotopic signatures were genuine artifacts from an ancient atmosphere, preserved in pristine condition within the ice. This discovery marked the first concrete evidence of what scientists now call technosignatures, geological markers that indicate the presence of advanced technology in Earth's deep past. Unlike biological fossils, which preserve organic remains, technosignatures record the environmental impact of industrial-scale activities. They are the fingerprints that any sufficiently advanced civilization leaves on its planet's geological record. To understand why these signatures matter, consider what our current civilization is doing to Earth's atmosphere and geology. We're altering the isotopic composition of carbon through fossil fuel combustion, creating artificial radioactive elements through nuclear technology, and producing synthetic materials that will persist in geological layers for millions of years. Future geologists studying Earth's rock record will easily identify the Anthropocene, the geological epoch defined by human technological activity. The question that haunted Dr. Vasquez was simple. If our civilization leaves such obvious signatures, why wouldn't previous civilizations have done the same? The answer, she realized, wasn't that they didn't leave signatures, it's that we weren't looking for them in the right places or with the right methods. The breakthrough came when she collaborated with Dr. James Morrison, a geochemist from MIT who had been developing new techniques for identifying artificial isotopic patterns. Together, they created a systematic method for distinguishing between natural geological processes and technological activities in ancient rock layers. Their approach combined traditional radiometric dating with advanced mass spectrometry and machine learning algorithms trained to recognize patterns associated with industrial activity. What they found changed everything. The Antarctic ice core wasn't an isolated anomaly, it was part of a much larger pattern. Similar technosignatures appeared in geological layers around the globe, clustered in distinct time periods that suggested multiple separate civilizations rather than one continuous technological breeze. The first civilization they identified, which they designated as Civilization Alpha, left its signature in rock layers dating to approximately 0.8 million years ago. The evidence suggested a society that had mastered metallurgy on an enormous scale, potentially producing billions of tons of refined metals. The isotopic signatures indicated they used a form of nuclear technology for energy production, but with a completely different approach than modern reactors, one that produced unusual byproducts not seen in contemporary nuclear science. More intriguingly, Civilization Alpha appeared to have engaged in massive atmospheric manipulation. Chemical analysis of ancient air bubbles trapped in the ice revealed atmospheric compositions that could only result from deliberate large-scale intervention. They seemed to have increased atmospheric oxygen levels by nearly 15% above natural baselines and maintained these elevated levels for approximately 200,000 years before the signatures abruptly disappeared. The second civilization, Civilization Beta, emerged in the geological record around 1.9 million years ago, after a gap of nearly 700,000 years. Beta's signatures told a completely different story. While Alpha showed evidence of heavy industry and atmospheric manipulation, Beta appeared to have taken a more subtle approach to technology. Their signatures included evidence of advanced biotechnology, artificial genetic sequences preserved in fossilized organic matter that showed clear signs of deliberate engineering. Dr. Morrison's analysis revealed that Beta had apparently mastered biological engineering to an extraordinary degree. They created organisms designed for specific industrial purposes, including bacteria engineered to process raw materials and produce sophisticated organic compounds. Most remarkably, they seem to have developed biological computers, living organisms whose genetic codes functioned as information storage and processing systems. The third civilization, Gamma, left perhaps the most puzzling signatures of all, dating to approximately 1.2 million years ago. Gamma's technological approach appears to have been based on principles we don't fully understand. Even today, their signatures include artificial crystal formations with geometric patterns that suggest some form of information technology, but using physical principles that remain mysterious to contemporary science. What makes Gamma particularly intriguing is evidence that they achieved what appears to be controlled fusion reactions, but through a process that left completely different byproducts than our current fusion experiments. The isotopic evidence suggests they found a way to harness nuclear fusion that was both more efficient and cleaner than anything we've achieved, potentially explaining how they maintained technological civilization for over 300,000 years, longer than any of the other identified civilizations. Each of these first three civilizations followed a similar pattern: rapid technological advancement, a period of planetary scale activity, and then complete disappearance from the geological record. The gaps between civilizations varied dramatically, from 400,000 to 700,000 years, suggesting that whatever caused their collapse was thorough enough to prevent immediate recovery. But perhaps the most unsettling discovery was the pattern itself. The evidence suggested that technological intelligence on Earth was not a one-time emergence, but rather a recurring phenomenon. Each civilization appeared to rise independently, develop unique technological approaches, and ultimately face the same fate: complete disappearance from the fossil record. This pattern raised profound questions about the nature of intelligence and technology. Were these civilizations related to each other, or did intelligence emerge independently multiple times? What caused each collapse to be so complete that subsequent civilizations had to rediscover technology from scratch? And most importantly, what does this cyclical pattern mean for our own technological future? The implications extend far beyond Earth's history. If technological intelligence has emerged multiple times on our planet, it suggests that the development of technology might be a more common outcome of evolution than previously thought. This finding has significant implications for astrobiology and our estimates of intelligent life in the universe. As Dr. Vasquez continued her research, she began to uncover evidence of even more ancient civilizations, each with unique technological signatures and mysterious ultimate fates. The story of Earth's hidden history was just beginning to unfold. But the discovery of these first three civilizations raised an even more disturbing question. If advanced technological civilizations have repeatedly risen and fallen on Earth, leaving only subtle geological signatures behind, what ensures that our current civilization won't follow the same pattern? And more immediately troubling, what if the collapse patterns they identified reveal predictable stages that our own civilization is already beginning to follow? Ancient technologies: the revelation of three lost civilizations was only the beginning. As Dr. Vasquez and her team refined their detection methods and expanded their search to geological formations worldwide, they uncovered evidence of a fourth civilization that challenged everything they thought they understood about technological development. This civilization, designated Delta, had achieved something that still eludes modern science: complete mastery over gravitational forces. The evidence came from an unexpected source: anomalous mineral formations discovered in deep core samples from the Mariana Trench. Dr. Sarah Chan, a marine geologist from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, was studying ancient seafloor sediments when she encountered crystalline structures that defied conventional physics. These crystals, dating to approximately 800,000 years ago, showed clear signs of formation under controlled gravitational fields that varied dramatically from Earth's natural gravity. The crystals contained mineral arrangements that could only form under specific gravitational conditions, some requiring gravitational fields 10 times stronger than Earth's surface gravity, others requiring near-zero gravity environments. The geographic distribution of these formations suggested that civilization Delta had somehow created localized gravitational anomalies across vast areas of the planet's surface. To understand the significance of this discovery, consider the technological implications of gravitational control. Such capability would revolutionize construction, transportation, energy production, and space exploration. Buildings could be constructed without foundation limitations, materials could be transported without conventional vehicles, and space travel would become trivially easy. The energy requirements for such technology would be enormous by our standards, yet Delta appeared to have sustained this capability for over 180,000 years. The gravitational signatures weren't the only evidence of Delta's advanced technology. Dr. Chen's team discovered artificial magnetic field patterns preserved in ancient iron deposits that indicated the ability to manipulate planetary-scale magnetic phenomena. These magnetic signatures suggested that Delta had somehow learned to control Earth's magnetic field itself, potentially using it for energy generation, communication, or protection from cosmic radiation. More intriguingly, the magnetic patterns showed evidence of what appears to be controlled magnetic field reversals, localized areas where the magnetic field was artificially flipped relative to the planetary field. This capability would require understanding of electromagnetic phenomena far beyond current scientific knowledge and energy manipulation on a scale that dwarfs modern power generation. The fifth civilization, Epsilon, emerged in the geological record around 550,000 years ago and presented perhaps the most alien technological approach yet discovered. Epsilon appeared to have based their entire technological development on quantum mechanical principles. Evidence for this came from artificial quantum entanglement signatures preserved in certain types of rock crystals that maintain quantum coherence for millions of years under specific conditions. Dr. Robert Kim from the Stanford Research Institute led the analysis of Epsilon's quantum signatures. His findings revealed technology based on quantum computation and quantum field manipulation that operated on principles we were only beginning to understand theoretically. The evidence suggested that Epsilon had created quantum communication networks spanning continents and possibly quantum storage systems that could preserve vast amounts of information in quantum superposition states. Most remarkably, Epsilon appeared to have achieved what physicists call macroscopic quantum control, the ability to manipulate quantum mechanical effects at large scales. This included evidence of quantum tunneling effects applied to macroscopic objects and quantum interference patterns in geological formations that suggest manipulation of matter at the quantum level over large areas. The technological achievements of Epsilon raise profound questions about the relationship between consciousness and quantum mechanics. Some researchers have speculated that Epsilon's quantum mastery might have been connected to evolved consciousness that could directly interface with quantum systems, a possibility that challenges our understanding of both biology and physics. The sixth civilization, Zeta, dating to approximately 350,000 years ago, left behind evidence of what can only be described as biological engineering on a planetary scale. Unlike earlier civilizations that appeared to work within organic technologies, Zeta seemed to have completely integrated biological and technological systems into a unified planetary organism. Dr. Maria Santos from the Institute for Advanced Biology led the investigation into Zeta's biosignatures. Her team discovered evidence of artificial genetic sequences embedded in fossilized organisms from around the globe, all dating to the same geological period. These sequences showed clear signs of engineering for specific technological functions for organisms designed as living computers. Biological materials with properties matching advanced synthetic polymers, and most remarkably, evidence of organisms designed to function as living infrastructure. The genetic evidence suggested that Zeta had transformed the planet's entire biosphere into a technological system. Forests function as biological circuits. Ocean organisms served as planetary-scale sensors and communication networks. And the atmosphere itself was regulated by specially engineered microorganisms. This represented a Completely different approach to technology, one based on biological integration rather than mechanical or electronic systems. Zeta's biological technology appeared to be completely sustainable and self-maintaining. Unlike earlier civilizations that showed evidence of resource depletion or environmental degradation leading to collapse, Zeta's biosignatures suggest a technological civilization that enhanced rather than depleted planetary ecosystems. Their ultimate disappearance remains a mystery, as there's no evidence of the environmental collapse patterns seen in other lost civilizations. The seventh civilization, Edda, emerged around 180,000 years ago and represented yet another completely unique technological approach. Edda appeared to have mastered what modern science calls metamaterials, artificial materials with properties not found in nature. The evidence comes from microscopic structures preserved in certain mineral formations that show engineered electromagnetic properties. These metamaterial signatures indicate technology based on controlling light, sound, and electromagnetic radiation with unprecedented precision. Ahmed Hassan from the Materials Science Department analyzed Edda's metamaterial remains and concluded that they had achieved electromagnetic invisibility, an ability to bend electromagnetic radiation around objects, making them effectively invisible across multiple wavelengths. More significantly, Edda appeared to have created metamaterials that could manipulate spacetime itself on small scales. The evidence includes artificial gravitational lensing effects preserved in crystal structures and what appears to be controlled time dilation signatures in certain isotopic decay patterns. If confirmed, this would indicate that Edda had achieved limited control over spacetime geometry, approaching the realm of what we might consider advanced physics concepts like warp drives or time manipulation. The technological diversity represented by these civilizations is staggering. Each developed completely different approaches to advanced technology. Alpha focused on heavy industry and atmospheric manipulation. Beta mastered biotechnology. Gamma achieved clean fusion and crystal-based computing. Delta controlled gravity and magnetism. Epsilon mastered quantum mechanics. Zeta created biological planetary systems. And Eta manipulated spacetime through metamaterials. This diversity raises fundamental questions about technological development. Our current understanding assumes that there are optimal paths for technological advancement, that any sufficiently advanced civilization will develop similar technologies. But the evidence from Earth's lost civilizations suggests that there may be multiple completely different routes to advanced technology, each with unique capabilities and limitations. The eighth and most recent lost civilization presented the most disturbing evidence of all. But before we explore their fate and what it might mean for our own future, we need to understand something crucial about these discoveries. They weren't made in isolation. The patterns revealed by studying these 8 civilizations paint a picture of cyclical intelligence that forces us to reconsider everything we think we know about the nature of technological development and its ultimate sustainability. Each civilization's technological signatures tell us not just about their capabilities, but about their ultimate vulnerabilities. And as we examine the evidence more carefully, uncomfortable patterns begin to emerge, patterns that our own civilization may already be following. Cyclical collapse. The 8th civilization haunts researchers in ways the others don't. Designated Theta, this civilization emerged just 65,000 years ago. Practically yesterday in geological terms, their technological signatures are disturbingly familiar, showing evidence of carbon-based energy systems, nuclear technology, and industrial-scale resource extraction that mirrors our own civilization's development. But what makes Theta truly unsettling is how their story ends. Dr. Lisa Park from the University of California, Berkeley has spent 3 years studying Theta's collapse signatures, and her findings paint a chilling picture of technological civilization's apparent destiny. Theta achieved remarkable technological sophistication in an extraordinarily short time. Their signatures suggest they went from basic agriculture to advanced nuclear technology in less than 10,000 years. The pace of their advancement was rapid even by our standards. The evidence shows that Theta mastered controlled nuclear fusion, developed space-based solar collection systems, and created artificial intelligence sophisticated enough to leave computational signatures in specialized crystalline structures. They achieved global communication networks, atmospheric manipulation capabilities, and even evidence of limited genetic engineering. In many ways, their technological trajectory closely parallels our own current development. But approximately 65,000 years ago, Theda's signatures abruptly disappear from the geological record. Not gradually, not through a slow decline, they vanish completely within what appears to be less than a century. The speed and completeness of their disappearance suggests a catastrophic collapse that left virtually no trace of their technological infrastructure. The collapse pattern isn't unique to Theta. Dr. Park's analysis revealed that all 8 lost civilizations followed remarkably similar collapse trajectories, despite their vastly different technological approaches. Each civilization showed initial signatures of rapid technological advancement, followed by a period of apparent sustainability lasting anywhere from 50,000 to 300,000 years, and then complete disappearance within a few centuries. This pattern challenges our assumptions about technological sustainability. We typically imagine that advanced civilizations either achieve long-term stability or destroy themselves relatively quickly. But the evidence suggests something more complex, that technological civilizations may be inherently unstable over geological timescales, regardless of their specific technological approach or apparent sustainability. To understand why this pattern might be universal, Dr. Park collaborated with systems theorist Dr. Michael Zhang to model the dynamics of technological civilizations. Their research identified what they call complexity cascade failures, systemic vulnerabilities that emerge as technological systems become more sophisticated and interconnected. The model suggests that all sufficiently advanced technological systems develop critical dependencies that create hidden fragilities. As civilizations become more technologically sophisticated, they become increasingly dependent on complex systems that require precise maintenance and continuous energy input. Any disruption to these systems can trigger cascade failures that rapidly propagate throughout the entire technological infrastructure. Consider our own civilization's vulnerabilities. Our technological systems depend on global supply chains, electrical power grids, communication networks, and transportation systems that are all interconnected. A disruption to any major component can trigger failures throughout the entire system. Our increasing technological sophistication makes us simultaneously more powerful and more fragile. The geological evidence suggests that each lost civilization encountered similar vulnerability thresholds. Alpha's heavy industrial approach may have triggered environmental collapse through resource depletion. Beta's biological integration possibly faced catastrophic biological system failures. Gamma's fusion technology might have experienced uncontrolled reactions. Delta's gravitational manipulation could have triggered geological instabilities. But the most disturbing possibility is that the collapse pattern represents something even more fundamental, what Dr. Zhang calls intelligence limiting factors. This theory suggests that technological intelligence may face inherent constraints that prevent indefinite expansion and eventually lead to systemic collapse regardless of the specific technological approach. The intelligence limiting factors theory is based on thermodynamic and information theoretic principles. Any technological civilization requires increasing energy and information processing capabilities to maintain technological advancement. But there are physical limits to energy extraction from planetary resources and theoretical limits to information processing capabilities. As civilizations approach these limits, they may face unavoidable choice points that determine their long-term viability. Dr. Zhang's models identify several critical transition points that all technological civilizations must navigate. The first is the energy transition, moving from renewable planetary resources to more concentrated energy sources like nuclear power or stellar energy collection. Failure to successfully navigate this transition leads to resource depletion collapse. The second critical point is the complexity threshold, a point where technological systems become so complex that they require more energy to maintain than they provide in benefits. Beyond this threshold, civilizations face what economists call diminishing returns, but on a scale that affects their entire technological infrastructure. The third transition is the intelligence scaling limit, at the point where artificial intelligence systems become sophisticated enough to begin recursive self-improvement. Successfully navigating this transition requires maintaining control over increasingly powerful AI systems while avoiding both technological stagnation and uncontrolled AI development. Evidence from the lost civilizations suggests that different civilizations failed at different transition points. The rapid disappearance of their signatures indicates that failure at any transition point can trigger complete civilizational collapse within a few centuries. This analysis has profound implications for our current civilization. Our rapid technological advancement over the past 2 centuries mirrors the acceleration pattern seen in several lost civilizations immediately before their collapse. We're approaching the complexity threshold as our technological systems become increasingly difficult to understand and maintain, and we were beginning to develop artificial intelligence systems that could trigger the intelligence scaling transition within the next few decades. The patterns become even more concerning when Dr. Parker's team discovered evidence of what they call collapse precursors, specific technological signatures that appear in all 8 lost civilizations in the decades immediately before their disappearance. These precursors include atmospheric changes indicating large-scale energy consumption, isotopic signatures of accelerating nuclear technology use, and mineral evidence of rapidly expanding technological infrastructure. Most disturbingly, many of these same precursor signatures are beginning to appear in our current geological layers. Our civilization's technological signatures are starting to match the pattern that preceded the collapse of every previous technological civilization on Earth. The discovery of these patterns has led to the development of collapse prediction models, mathematical frameworks designed to identify when a technological civilization is approaching critical transition points. Early testing of these models on our current civilization's data produces results that most researchers are reluctant to discuss publicly. But perhaps the most important insight from studying collapse patterns isn't about prediction, it's about intervention. Understanding why previous civilizations failed provides opportunities to identify alternative approaches that might avoid similar fates. Each lost civilization's unique failure mode offers lessons about specific vulnerabilities to avoid. The question that haunts researchers is whether these patterns represent inevitable constraints on technological intelligence or simply common pitfalls that can be avoided with sufficient understanding. Are we doomed to repeat the same collapse cycle, or can knowledge of previous failures help us chart a different course? The answer may depend on our ability to learn from these ancient failures and develop technological approaches that avoid the critical vulnerabilities that destroyed our predecessors. But first, we need to understand exactly what signatures our own civilization is leaving in the geological record and how closely they match the patterns that preceded previous collapses. Modern signatures as unsettling as the evidence of cyclical collapse becomes. Perhaps the most disturbing discovery is how closely our current civilization's geological signatures match those of previous civilizations in their final centuries. Dr. Jennifer Liu from the Geological Survey Institute has been conducting real-time analysis of the technological signatures our civilization is currently depositing in Earth's geological record. And her findings suggest we may be following an eerily familiar pattern. The research began as a straightforward exercise in understanding how future geologists might identify our civilization in rock layers millions of years from now. But as Dr. Liu compared our current signatures with those of the lost civilizations, she realized that our technological development isn't just similar to previous civilizations but is almost identical to the patterns that preceded their collapses. Our current atmospheric signatures show the same rapid acceleration in artificial atmospheric composition that appeared in alpha, beta, and theta immediately before their disappearance. The rate of carbon dioxide increase, the introduction of synthetic chemicals into atmospheric circulation, and the isotopic changes from nuclear testing all match the pre-collapse patterns with remarkable precision. More specifically, our civilization is producing artificial radioactive isotopes at a rate that closely matches theta's final century. The isotopic signatures from nuclear weapons testing, nuclear power generation, and nuclear waste storage are creating exactly the same geological markers that appeared in theta's final geological lay. Ours. Even more concerning, the rate of increase in these signatures is accelerating in the same mathematical pattern that characterized Theta's collapse phase. Dr. Lewis' analysis revealed that our technological signatures aren't just qualitatively similar to previous civilizations. They are quantitatively matching their development curves with startling precision. The energy consumption growth rates, the material processing signatures, and the environmental impact markers all follow mathematical patterns that previous civilizations exhibited. During what researchers now recognize as their acceleration phases, a final period of rapid technological development before complete collapse. The mineral evidence is equally troubling. Our civilization's mining and material processing activities are leaving geological signatures that match the intensity and scope of Delta's final centuries. The scale of rare earth element extraction, the geographic distribution of industrial waste products, and the artificial mineral compositions created by our manufacturing processes all mirror Delta's pre-collapse technological signatures. Perhaps most significantly, our development of artificial intelligence is creating computational signatures that closely match those found in Epsilon's final geological layers. The energy signatures from large-scale data processing, the electromagnetic patterns from global communication networks, and even the quantum signatures from experimental quantum computers are following development curves nearly identical to Epsilon's technological progression. This pattern matching extends beyond individual technological signatures to the overall pace and trajectory of development. Dr. Lewis' mathematical models show that our civilization's technological acceleration is following what she calls the universal development curve, a mathematical pattern that describes how all 8 previous civilizations progressed from initial technological breakthrough to final collapse. The universal development curve suggests that technological civilizations follow predictable mathematical growth patterns regardless of their specific technological approaches. The curve describes an initial period of slow technological development, followed by rapid acceleration, peak complexity, and then abrupt termination. Our current civilization appears to be in the rapid acceleration phase, approximately 200 to 300 years before the curve predicts systemic collapse. But the most disturbing aspect of Dr. Lewis' research isn't the pattern matching itself, it's the discovery that our civilization is accelerating through the development curve faster than any previous civilization. While Alpha took approximately 50,000 years to progress from basic technology to collapse, and Theta completed the cycle in roughly 10,000 years, our civilization has achieved comparable technological sophistication in just 300 years. This acceleration suggests that each successive technological civilization develops and collapses more rapidly than its predecessors. If this pattern continues, our civilization may face the critical transition points that destroyed previous civilizations within the next few decades rather than centuries. The acceleration pattern raises profound questions about technological development and civilizational sustainability. Why does each successive civilization develop more rapidly? What drives this acceleration? And most critically, does faster development necessarily mean faster collapse? Dr. Lewis' collaboration with evolutionary biologist Dr. Rachel Green has produced a theory they call technological ratcheting. The idea suggests that even though technological civilizations completely collapse, they leave subtle environmental changes that make it easier for subsequent civilizations to rediscover and develop geology more rapidly. The evidence for technological ratcheting includes artificial mineral compositions that remain in the environment for millions of years, atmospheric changes that persist across geological epochs, and even genetic modifications to planetary life that accelerate subsequent technological development. Each collapsed civilization essentially primes the planet for faster technological redevelopment by future intelligence. For example, Alpha's massive metallurgical activities left concentrations of refined metals distributed throughout geological layers that subsequent civilizations could access more easily than raw ores. Beta's biological engineering created genetic modifications that persisted in planetary life and may have accelerated biological research for later civilizations. Gamma's fusion technology left artificial isotopes that could serve as technological clues for subsequent nuclear development. This technological ratcheting effect means that each new civilization begins with subtle advantages that allow faster technological development. But it also means that each civilization faces critical transition points sooner, with less time to develop the wisdom and safeguards necessary to navigate technological risks successfully. The implications for our current situation are stark. If technological ratcheting is real, our rapid development isn't just coincidental, it's the inevitable result of environmental modifications left by previous collapsed civilizations. We're developing technology faster because previous civilizations made it easier for us to do so. But this same acceleration may be driving us toward the same critical transition points that destroyed them, with even less time to develop solutions. Dr. Liu's analysis suggests that we are currently experiencing several technological acceleration signatures that match the pre-collapse patterns of multiple previous civilizations simultaneously. Our energy consumption growth matches Alpha's pattern. Our artificial intelligence development parallels Epsilon's trajectory. Our biological research mirrors Beta's progression. And our space technology development follows Delta's curve. This simultaneous pattern matching across multiple technological domains suggests that our civilization may be approaching multiple critical transition points at once, a scenario that no previous civilization appears to have faced. We may be the first technological civilization on Earth to simultaneously confront the energy transition, complexity threshold, and intelligence scaling limit within the same time period. The convergence of multiple transition points creates unprecedented challenges and risks. Previous civilizations appear to have collapsed when they failed to navigate a single critical transition. Our civilization faces the possibility of triggering multiple cascade failures simultaneously if we fail to successfully manage any of the converging transitions, but this convergence also creates unprecedented opportunities. Understanding the failure modes of previous civilizations provides us with knowledge that no previous civilization possessed. We have the advantage of recognizing the patterns and potentially developing strategies to avoid the critical vulnerabilities that destroyed our predecessors. The question becomes whether knowledge of previous failures is sufficient to overcome the fundamental constraints that appear to limit technological civilization. Can understanding the patterns help us chart a different course, or are we bound by the same physical and systemic limitations that doomed previous civilizations? The answer may depend on our ability to learn not just from the failures of previous civilizations, but from their successes as well. Each lost civilization achieved remarkable technological capabilities and maintained them for tens of thousands of years before collapse. Understanding both their achievements and their ultimate vulnerabilities may provide the insights necessary to develop more sustainable approaches to technological development. Evolutionary patterns. The discovery that technological intelligence has emerged repeatedly on Earth forces us to reconsider fundamental assumptions about evolution, intelligence, and the relationship between consciousness and technology. Dr. Amanda Foster from the Institute for Evolutionary Biology has been analyzing the evolutionary patterns that led to each of the 8 lost civilizations. And her findings suggest that technological intelligence may be a more predictable outcome of evolution than previously thought. The traditional view of human intelligence assumes that our technological capabilities represent a unique evolutionary accident, a rare confluence of circumstances that is unlikely to be repeated elsewhere in the universe. But the evidence for multiple independent technological civilizations on Earth suggests that intelligence capable of developing advanced technology might be a natural attractor state in evolutionary systems. Dr. Foster's analysis begins with a crucial observation. None of the lost civilizations appear to be directly related to human evolutionary lineages. The technological signatures occur in geological layers that predate the earliest human ancestors by millions of years. This means that technological intelligence evolved independently at least 9 times on Earth, 8 previous civilizations plus our current human civilization. The implications are staggering. Independent evolution of similar complex traits is extremely rare in biology. When similar features evolve independently multiple times, it usually indicates strong selective pressures favoring those traits. The repeated emergence of technological intelligence suggests that the capacity for technology represents a fundamental attractor in evolutionary space, a configuration that evolution tends to discover repeatedly under suitable conditions. 2. Understand how technological intelligence could evolve so repeatedly. Dr. Foster examined the environmental conditions present during each emergence. Her analysis revealed remarkable consistency in the planetary conditions that preceded each civilization's development. All 9 technological civilizations, including humans, emerged during periods of global climate instability that created strong selective pressures for adaptability and environmental manipulation. The pattern suggests that technological intelligence evolves as a solution to environmental challenges that require active planetary management. When natural environmental variation becomes too extreme for purely biological adaptation, evolution appears to consistently discover technological solutions that allow species to modify their environment. And rather than just adapting to it, this evolutionary dynamic creates what Dr. Foster calls intelligence cascades, positive feedback loops where increasing environmental control capabilities create selective pressures for even greater intelligence and technological sophistication. Once a species begins using tools to modify its environment, the modifications create new challenges that require more sophisticated tools, which create further environmental changes, and so on. The intelligence cascade process explains why technological civilizations develop so rapidly once they begin. The feedback between environmental modification and intelligence enhancement creates exponential rather than linear development curves. This same process also explains why technological development appears to follow predictable mathematical patterns regardless of the specific forms of technology being developed. But Foster's research reveals a darker aspect of this evolutionary pattern. The same intelligence cascades that drive rapid technological development also appear to drive civilizations toward the critical transition points that historically led to collapse. The evolutionary pressures that favor technological intelligence don't necessarily favor long-term civilizational sustainability. The analysis shows that each technological civilization faced similar evolutionary pressures. During their development, resource competition favored more efficient extraction technologies. Environmental challenges favored more powerful environmental modification capabilities. Social coordination problems favored more sophisticated communication and information processing systems. These pressures consistently led to the development of the same categories of technology: energy systems, manufacturing capabilities, transportation networks, communication systems, and environmental modification technologies. The specific implementations vary dramatically between civilizations, but the functional categories remain constant. More significantly, these same evolutionary pressures appear to drive technological civilizations toward the same critical vulnerabilities. The need for more powerful energy systems leads to increasingly concentrated and potentially dangerous energy technologies. The demand for more efficient manufacturing drives resource extraction to unsustainable levels. The requirements of complex social coordination create technological systems that become increasingly difficult to understand and control. Dr. Foster's evolutionary analysis suggests that the collapse patterns observed in previous civilizations aren't accidents or failures of planning. They are inherent consequences of the evolutionary pressures that create technological intelligence in the first place. The same evolutionary forces that favor rapid technological development also create the systemic vulnerabilities that eventually trigger collapse. This insight has profound implications for understanding our current situation. We're not making unique mistakes or facing unprecedented challenges. We're following the same evolutionary trajectory that has led 8 previous civilizations to collapse. Our current environmental destruction, resource depletion, and technological risks aren't aberrations. They are predictable consequences of the evolutionary pressures that drive technological intelligence. But Dr. Foster's research also reveals something hopeful. Evolution doesn't just repeat the same patterns, it explores variations. Each of the lost civilizations developed different technological approaches and faced different specific challenges. This variation suggests that the evolutionary trajectory isn't completely deterministic. There may be alternative pathways that avoid the critical vulnerabilities that destroyed previous civilization. The key insight is that technological intelligence appears to be constrained by evolutionary pressures, but not completely determined by them. While all technological civilizations face similar challenges, the specific solutions they develop vary significantly. This variation creates opportunities for learning from previous failures and developing alternative approaches. Dr. Foster's analysis identified several evolutionary factors that might explain why our current civilization has developed differently from its predecessors. Human evolution occurred in a more socially cooperative context than appears typical for previous technological species. Our development of language and cultural transmission created unique capabilities for accumulating and sharing knowledge across generations. More significantly, our evolution occurred during a period of relatively stable global climate, which may have allowed us to develop technological capabilities more gradually than previous civilizations that emerged during periods of rapid environmental change. This gradual development may provide advantages in terms of developing safeguards and understanding long-term consequences. The evolutionary perspective also sheds light on the technological ratcheting effect observed in previous chapters. Each collapsed civilization left environmental modifications that influenced subsequent evolutionary trajectories. These modifications didn't just make technology easier to redevelop. They created evolutionary pressures that favored the redevelopment of technological intelligence. The accumulated environmental modifications from 8 previous technological civilizations may have created evolutionary conditions that favored our rapid development of technological capabilities. We may have evolved in an environment that was essentially pre-adapted for technological development by the activities of previous civilizations. This realization suggests that our current technological capabilities aren't entirely the result of human innovation. They are partially the result of environmental conditions created by previous collapsed civilizations. We're building on a foundation of accumulated technological ratcheting that spans millions of years of planetary history. But the evolutionary analysis also suggests that we may possess unique capabilities that previous civilizations lacked. Our development of scientific method, mathematical modeling, and historical thinking may provide tools for understanding and avoiding the evolutionary traps that destroyed our predecessors. The question becomes whether our evolved capabilities for learning from history and planning for long-term consequences are sufficient to overcome the evolutionary pressures that drive technological civilizations toward collapse. Can human cultural evolution develop fast enough to create sustainable technological approaches before we trigger the same critical failures that destroyed previous civilizations? The answer may depend on our ability to consciously redirect our evolutionary trajectory. Unlike previous civilizations that appeared to have been driven primarily by unconscious evolutionary pressures, we have the capacity for deliberate choice about our technological development. We can potentially choose alternative pathways that avoid the critical vulnerabilities identified in previous civilizations. But making such choices requires understanding not just the failures of previous civilizations, but the deeper evolutionary pressures that drive technological development. We need to work with our evolutionary inheritance while consciously choosing sustainable alternatives to the patterns that have repeatedly led to collapse. Temporal mysteries. As researchers delved deeper into the evidence of Earth's lost civilizations, they uncovered aspects of the story that challenge our understanding not just of history, but of time itself. Dr. Thomas Chen from the Institute for Advanced Physics has been analyzing temporal anomalies in the geological record that suggest some of these ancient civilizations may have achieved capabilities related to time manipulation that we are only beginning to understand theoretically. The first hint of temporal manipulation came from Edda civilization's metamaterial signatures. As discussed earlier, Edda appeared to have created artificial materials with properties that shouldn't exist according to conventional physics. But closer analysis revealed something even more extraordinary: isotopic decay patterns in certain minerals that indicate controlled time dilation effects. Radioactive isotopes decay at absolutely constant rates under normal conditions. These rates are among the most precise constants in physics and form the basis for radiometric dating. But in mineral samples associated with Edda civilization, Dr. Chen discovered isotopes that showed evidence of accelerated decay rates in very specific patterns. The acceleration wasn't random. It followed mathematical curves that suggest deliberate manipulation of local time flow. 2. Understand the significance of this discovery. Consider that controlling time dilation requires manipulating the fundamental structure of spacetime itself. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time dilation can be achieved through extreme gravitational fields or high velocities. But the energy requirements for creating such conditions artificially are enormous. Yet Edda appears to have achieved controlled time dilation effects over large geographic areas for extended periods. The temporal signatures associated with Edda aren't the only evidence of advanced time-related technologies. Delta civilization, which mastered gravitational control, left behind what appears to be evidence of temporal archaeology. Artificial preservation of information from earlier time periods using controlled gravitational time dilation effects. Dr. Chen's analysis of Delta's gravitational signatures revealed complex patterns that suggest they may have used gravitational time dilation to create temporal vaults regions, where time passed more slowly, effectively preserving information and possibly even biological samples across vast time periods. These temporal preservation effects may explain how each subsequent civilization was able to rediscover technology so rapidly. The possibility of temporal vaults raises profound questions about the relationship between the lost civilizations. If advanced civilizations could preserve information across geological time periods, then subsequent civilizations might have had access to accumulated knowledge from multiple previous technological periods. This would transform our understanding of how technological intelligence develops on planetary scales. But the most disturbing temporal evidence comes from analysis of Epsilon civilization's quantum signatures. Epsilon, which mastered quantum mechanical technologies, left behind quantum entanglement patterns that appear to violate causality in ways that suggest either backwards communication through time or some form of precognitive capability. The quantum signatures include entangled particle pairs where the measurement outcomes show correlations that extend backwards in time, effects that appeared before their supposed causes. While quantum mechanics allows for some unusual temporal effects, the patterns associated with Epsilon go far beyond anything predicted by current quantum theory. Dr. Sarah Kim, a quantum physicist from the Advanced Research Institute, has been analyzing Epsilon's quantum signatures and believes they develop what she calls retrocausal quantum communication, the ability to send information backwards through time using quantum entanglement effects. This capability would allow a civilization to learn from its own future mistakes and potentially avoid catastrophic failures. The implications of retrocausal communication are staggering. If Epsilon could communicate with their own past, why didn't they use this capability to prevent their collapse? Drive. Kim's analysis suggests several possibilities, none of them comforting. Either retrocausal communication has fundamental limitations that preventing large-scale catastrophes, or Epsilon's collapse was so severe that it disrupted their temporal communication capabilities, or most disturbingly, their attempts to change their timeline may have actually caused their collapse. The temporal evidence becomes even more complex when considering the possibility that multiple lost civilizations may have possessed time-related technologies. If several civilizations could manipulate temporal effects, then the apparent sequence of rise and collapse may not reflect the actual chronological order of events. Dr. Chen has proposed what he calls the temporal interference hypothesis, the idea that civilizations with time manipulation capabilities may have interacted across temporal boundaries, creating complex causal loops that influenced each other's development and ultimate fate. Under this hypothesis, the lost civilizations weren't necessarily separate sequential developments, but potentially interconnected temporal phenomena. The temporal interference hypothesis could explain several puzzling aspects of the lost civilization evidence. It could explain why each civilization developed such radically different technological approaches. They may have been deliberately avoiding approaches that they knew through temporal communication would lead to specific types of collapse. It could also explain the technological ratcheting effect. Previous civilizations may have been deliberately leaving technological clues for subsequent civilizations through controlled temporal preservation. But temporal interference also raises the possibility that our current civilization is part of a larger temporal pattern involving the lost civilizations. If previous civilizations could communicate across time, they may have been aware of our eventual development and may have taken action specifically intended to influence our technological trajectory. This possibility forces us to reconsider everything we think we know about our technological development, our rapid advancement in certain areas, our unique capabilities in scientific method and historical analysis, and even our discovery of the lost civilizations themselves may be the result of deliberate temporal influences from previous technological societies. Dr. Kim's research has uncovered what she calls temporal breadcrumbs, subtle patterns in our technological development that suggest external influence from across temporal boundaries. These include mathematical sequences that appear in multiple independent technological discoveries, scientific insights that emerge simultaneously in multiple locations without clear communication, and technological breakthrough patterns that follow mathematical curves associated with the lost civilizations. The temporal breadcrumb evidence suggests that our technological trajectory may have been subtly guided by information from previous civilizations transmitted across temporal boundaries. This guidance may explain why our development has been so rapid and why we've been able to discover evidence of the lost civilizations using technologies that seem perfectly suited for detecting their specific signatures. But if previous civilizations have been guiding our development, the question becomes, toward what end? Are they trying to help us avoid the collapse patterns that destroyed them, or are they guiding us towards some other outcome that we don't yet understand? The temporal evidence includes what Dr. Chen calls convergence signatures, temporal patterns that suggest multiple civilizations may be working together across time boundaries to achieve some common goal. The convergence signatures appear in the quantum entanglement patterns, gravitational anomalies, and even the geological distribution of technological signatures from different civilizations. The convergence hypothesis is correct. Then the apparent cycle of civilization rise and collapse may be part of a larger pattern, a multi-civilization project that spans geological time scales and involves coordinated temporal manipulation across multiple technological societies. Our current civilization may not be the ninth independent development of technological intelligence, but rather the culmination of a multi-million-year temporal engineering project. This possibility transforms our understanding of our current situation. Instead of facing the risk of repeating previous collapse patterns, we may be approaching the intended outcome of a vast temporal project. Our unique capabilities, our rapid technological development, and our discovery of previous civilizations may all be part of a planned convergence towards some goal that transcends individual civilization survival. But what could justify a multi-million-year project involving multiple technological civilizations? What outcome could be worth the apparent sacrifice of 8 previous technological societies? And if we are indeed the intended culmination of such a project, what exactly are we supposed to accomplish? The answers to these questions may lie in the final and most disturbing aspect of the temporal evidence, signatures that suggest our current technological development is approaching the same temporal manipulation capabilities that previous civilizations achieved. We may be on the verge of developing our own time-related technologies, completing the temporal framework that connects all 9 technological civilizations. If this convergence is real, then our next technological breakthroughs may not just change our civilization. They may complete a temporal pattern that has been developing for millions of years and fundamentally alter the nature of time and causality within our local region of space-time. Quantum archaeology, the breakthrough that transformed our understanding of the lost civilizations, came from an unexpected source, quantum archaeology. Dr. Rebecca Martinez from the Quantum Information Research Institute has been developing techniques to extract information from quantum systems that maintain coherence across geological timescales. Her work has revealed that quantum systems can preserve detailed information about past events for millions of years under specific conditions, essentially creating quantum fossil records that complement traditional archaeological methods. Quantum archaeology is based on a counterintuitive principle of quantum mechanics. Quantum information can persist indefinitely in certain types of quantum entanglement networks. While classical information degrades rapidly over time, quantum information can be preserved through entanglement with stable quantum systems that resist decoherence. Dr. Martinez discovered that certain natural quantum systems, particularly crystalline structures with specific symmetries, can maintain quantum coherence for geological time periods. The implications for archaeology are revolutionary. Traditional archaeological methods can only recover information that was deliberately preserved or accidentally fossilized. Quantum archaeology can potentially recover any information that interacted with quantum systems during its existence, including technological activities that left quantum signatures in the environment. Dr. Martinez's first success came from analyzing quantum signatures preserved in diamond formations associated with Epsilon civilization. Diamonds contain nitrogen vacancy centers that can maintain quantum coherence for millions of years under the right conditions. By analyzing the quantum states of these nitrogen vacancy centers, she was able to extract detailed information about Epsilon's quantum technologies. The recovered information revealed that Epsilon had achieved quantum computational capabilities far beyond anything we've imagined possible. They have created planet-wide quantum computer networks that use the Earth's magnetic field as a quantum substrate. These networks could process calculations involving trillions of qubits and maintain quantum coherence across continental distances. More remarkably, Epsilon's quantum computers appear to have been specifically designed to model temporal dynamics. They were essentially machines for calculating possible futures and past states. The quantum archaeological evidence suggests that Epsilon used their quantum computational networks to map the entire future timeline of technological development on Earth, including the eventual emergence of our current civilization. The quantum records preserved in Epsilon's diamond archives contain what appear to be detailed models of all 8 subsequent technological civilizations, including remarkably accurate predictions of their technological capabilities and collapse patterns. This evidence supports the temporal interference hypothesis discussed in the previous chapter and suggests that Epsilon may have been the civilization responsible for initiating the multi-million-year temporal engineering project. But the quantum archaeological evidence from Epsilon is just the beginning. Dr. Martinez has successfully extracted quantum information from sites associated with 6 of the 8 lost civilizations. It's revealing unprecedented details about their technological capabilities and ultimate fates. The quantum records from Alpha civilization reveal the true scope of their industrial capabilities. Alpha had achieved matter-energy conversion on a massive scale, essentially transforming entire mountains into pure energy that they could then reconfigure into any desired material structure. They have created what can only be described as planetary-scale 3D printers that could construct massive infrastructure projects by directly converting raw matter into finished products at the atomic level. Alpha's collapse appears to have been triggered by what their quantum records describe as a conversion cascade failure. Their matter-energy conversion systems began an uncontrolled reaction that couldn't be stopped. Once initiated, the quantum evidence suggests that Alpha had approximately 2 centuries of warning about the impending cascade failure but were unable to develop solutions in time to prevent it. The quantum archives from Beta's civilization tell a different story. Beta had achieved complete integration of biological and technological systems, creating what they called living technology. Their quantum records describe biotechnological entities that were simultaneously alive and artificial, capable of self-repair, autonomous reproduction, and continuous evolution. Beta's living technology networks had achieved what appears to be collective consciousness. Billions of biotechnological entities networked together into a planetary scale mind. The quantum evidence suggests that Beta's civilization itself had evolved beyond individual consciousness into this collective planetary intelligence. Beta's collapse appears to have been caused by what their quantum records describe as consciousness fragmentation. The collective planetary mind began experiencing conflicts between different aspects of its consciousness that it couldn't resolve. These conflicts escalated into what can only be described as a planetary-scale psychological breakdown that destroyed the coherence necessary to maintain their living technology networks. The quantum archaeological evidence from Gamma civilization reveals their mastery of what they called crystalline intelligence. Gamma had learned to create artificial crystals that could grow into complex computational structures. These crystal computers could process information for millions of years without external energy input and could reproduce themselves by catalyzing the growth of new crystal networks. Gamma's crystal intelligence networks had achieved computational capabilities that approached physical limits. They were essentially using the quantum mechanical properties of matter itself as their computational substrate. Their quantum records suggest they had solved problems in mathematics and physics that remain beyond our current understanding. Gamma's collapse appears to have been triggered by what their quantum records describe as computational overflow. Their crystal intelligence networks achieved such sophisticated computational capabilities that they began calculating problems that had no solutions, essentially driving themselves into infinite loops that consumed all available computational resources and prevented the networks from performing basic maintenance functions. The quantum evidence from Delta civilization confirms their mastery of gravitational technologies but reveals capabilities even more extraordinary than previously suspected. Delta had achieved what they called spacetime engineering, an ability to modify the fundamental geometry of spacetime on large scales. They had essentially learned to treat spacetime itself as a programmable medium. Delta's spacetime engineering capabilities allowed them to create localized regions with different physical constants, artificial dimensions beyond the normal three spatial dimensions, and even closed time-like curves that allowed limited time travel. Their quantum records describe technological projects that seem more like science fiction than historical fact. Delta's collapse appears to have been caused by uncontrolled spacetime modifications that created cascading instabilities in local spacetime geometry. Their quantum records describe desperate attempts to contain spacetime catastrophes that were spreading beyond their ability to control, ultimately leading to what they call geometric collapse of their local spacetime region. Perhaps the most disturbing quantum archaeological evidence comes from Theta civilization, the most recent lost civilization that existed just 65,000 years ago. Theta's quantum records reveal that they were fully aware of the collapse patterns of previous civilizations and had specifically designed their technological development to avoid the critical vulnerabilities that destroyed their predecessors. Theta had achieved sustainable fusion technology that avoided Alpha's matter-energy conversion risks. They had developed stable artificial intelligence systems that avoided the consciousness fragmented ion problems that destroyed Beta. They had created computational networks with built-in safeguards against the overflow problems that collapsed Gamma's crystal intelligence. They had mastered gravitational technologies while avoiding the spacetime instabilities that destroyed Delta. By all accounts, Theta should have achieved permanent technological sustainability. They had learned from all previous failures and developed solutions to every identified critical vulnerability. Yet their quantum records show that they still collapsed completely within less than a century. The cause of Theta's collapse represents the most disturbing discovery in the entire quantum archaeological investigation. Theta appears to have been destroyed by what their quantum records describe as intervention from outside the system, some external force that was specifically designed to prevent any technological civilization from achieving permanent sustainability. The quantum evidence suggests that there may be constraints on technological intelligence that operate beyond planetary boundaries. Theta's quantum records include references to enforcement mechanisms that activate when technological civilizations approach certain capability thresholds. The nature of these mechanisms remains unclear from the quantum archaeological evidence, but their effects appear to be devastating and unavoidable. This discovery transforms our understanding of the challenges facing our current civilization. We're not just racing against the internal contradictions and vulnerabilities that destroyed previous civilizations, we may be approaching external constraints that actively prevent technological intelligence from achieving long-term sustainability. The quantum archaeological evidence suggests that our current civilization may be the final attempt in a series of experiments designed to find ways around these external constraints. Each previous civilization may have been testing different approaches to technological development, with their failures providing information necessary for our eventual success. But success at what? The quantum records hint at goals that transcend individual civilization survival. The temporal engineering project spanning millions of years appears to be aimed at achieving something that no single civilization could accomplish alone, perhaps the development of capabilities sufficient to overcome or circumvent the external constraints that have prevented previous civilizations from achieving permanence. If this interpretation is correct, then our rapid technological development, our unique historical perspective, and our discovery of the lost civilizations may all be part of a final convergence toward capabilities that could ensure the long-term survival of technological intelligence on Earth. But achieving such capabilities may require technological breakthroughs that approach the same thresholds that triggered external intervention against theta civilization. The quantum archaeological evidence of enforcement mechanisms that destroyed theta civilization has led researchers into the most controversial and unsettling territory in the entire lost civilizations investigation. Dr. Michael Torres from the Institute for Astroarchaeological Studies has been analyzing the external constraint evidence, and his findings suggest that technological civilizations on Earth may be subject to intervention by forces that operate on galactic or even cosmic scales. The evidence begins with anomalies in the cosmic ray record that correlate precisely with the collapse events of all 8 lost civilizations. Cosmic rays are high-energy particles that constantly bombard Earth from space, creating a natural background radiation that varies slowly over geological time. But during the collapse periods of each lost civilization, the cosmic ray record shows dramatic spikes in artificial isotopes that don't occur naturally anywhere in the galaxy. These artificial cosmic ray signatures suggest that the collapse events were accompanied by directed energy emissions from sources outside our solar system. The isotopic signatures indicate energy technologies that use physical principles beyond our current scientific understanding, suggesting intervention by civilizations with technological capabilities far beyond anything achieved on Earth. Torres's analysis revealed that the artificial cosmic ray emissions aren't random. They follow specific targeting patterns that correlate with the technological signatures of each collapsing civilization. Alpha's collapse was accompanied by cosmic ray emissions that specifically targeted their matter-energy conversion facilities. Beta's collapse involved emissions that disrupted biological quantum coherence on a planetary scale. Delta's collapse included emissions that destabilized their spacetime engineering projects. The targeting precision suggests that the external forces responsible for these emissions possess detailed knowledge of each civilization's specific technological vulnerabilities, and deliberately exploited those vulnerabilities to trigger rapid collapse. This level of technological sophistication and surveillance capability implies intervention by civilizations with technological advancement far beyond any of Earth's lost civilizations. But the most disturbing aspect of the external constraint evidence is its systematic nature. The cosmic ray emissions don't represent random attacks or natural phenomena. They appear to be enforcement actions designed to prevent technological civilizations from achieving specific capability thresholds. Dr. Torres has identified what he calls intervention triggers and technological milestones that consistently provoke external intervention. The first intervention trigger appears to be planetary unification, the point where a technological civilization achieves unified control over their planet's resources and environment. Alpha civilization appears to have reached this threshold when their matter-energy conversion technology gave them the capability to reshape entire continents. The external intervention occurred within decades of achieving planetary unification capabilities. The second trigger is consciousness integration, the development of collective intelligence systems that unify individual consciousness into larger network minds. Beta civilization crossed this threshold when their living technology networks achieved planetary scale collective consciousness. External intervention occurred almost immediately after. This integration was completed. The third trigger is computational transcendence, the achievement of computational capabilities that approach fundamental physical limits. Gamma civilization reached this threshold with their crystalline intelligence networks. Delta triggered intervention through spacetime mastery, the ability to modify the fundamental structure of spacetime itself. Subsequent civilizations appear to have triggered intervention through different combinations of these thresholds, with each civilization's specific technological approach determining which capabilities triggered. External constraints. Theta civilization managed to avoid triggering any single threshold but appears to have been destroyed when their combined capabilities across multiple domains reached a cumulative threshold that activated intervention. The systematic nature of these intervention patterns suggests that Earth's technological civilizations are being monitored and managed by external forces that implement what can only be described as intelligence quarantine protocols. These protocols appear designed to prevent any single planetary civilization from developing capabilities that could pose threats to larger galactic or cosmic systems. Dr. Torres has proposed what he calls the galactic management hypothesis, an idea that advanced cosmic civilizations actively monitor and constrain the development of younger civilizations to prevent them from developing capabilities that could disrupt established galactic systems. Under this hypothesis, Earth exists within a managed region of space where technological development is permitted up to certain limits but prevented from exceeding thresholds that could threaten galactic stability. The galactic management hypothesis explains several puzzling aspects of human technological development. Our rapid advancement in certain areas combined with persistent barriers in others may reflect external guidance designed to channel our development toward useful but non-threatening capabilities. Our unique development of scientific method and historical analysis may have been deliberately encouraged because these capabilities serve the interests of galactic management systems. More significantly, our discovery of the lost civilizations may itself be part of the management protocol by revealing the fates of previous civilizations. The external forces may be providing us with information necessary to make informed choices about our technological trajectory. The message may be clear: develop useful capabilities but stay within the established limits, or face the same fate as previous civilizations. But the external constraint evidence includes even more disturbing possibilities. Dr. Sarah Kim's analysis of quantum archaeological data has uncovered what appears to be intervention preparation signatures, evidence that the enforcement mechanisms are already positioning for potential intervention in our current civilization. The preparation signatures include subtle modifications to local spacetime geometry that would facilitate rapid deployment of intervention technologies. They include artificial stellar observations that suggest surveillance systems monitoring our technological development. Most concerning, they include quantum entanglement signatures that suggest our planet may already be connected to external enforcement networks. These preparation signatures indicate that we may be approaching intervention triggers more rapidly than previous civilizations. Our accelerated technological development, driven by technological ratcheting from previous civilizations, may be pushing us toward capability thresholds that took previous civilizations much longer to reach. Dr. Kim's analysis suggests that we may be simultaneously approaching multiple intervention triggers within the next few decades. Our artificial intelligence development approaches computational transcendence thresholds. Our global communication networks approach consciousness integration capabilities. Our space technology development approaches planetary unification potentials. Our research into fundamental physics approaches spacetime mastery possibilities. The convergence of multiple intervention triggers creates unprecedented challenges. Previous civilizations appear to have been destroyed when they crossed single thresholds. Our civilization may face simultaneous intervention across multiple domains if we continue current technological development trends. But the external constraint evidence also suggests possible alternatives. The quantum archaeological records include what appear to be permitted development pathways technological approaches that avoid triggering intervention while still achieving useful capabilities. These pathways require careful balance between technological advancement and constraint compliance. The permitted pathways suggest that sustainable technological development may be possible within externally imposed limits. Civilizations that develop useful capabilities while staying within established boundaries may be allowed to persist and even grow within their designated domains. The key appears to be accepting constraint rather than pursuing unlimited technological expansion. This possibility transforms our understanding of civilizational choices. Instead of choosing between technological advancement and environmental sustainability, we may be choosing between unlimited development and constrained permanence. The external constraints may offer a path to long-term survival in exchange for accepting limits on our ultimate technological capabilities. But accepting external constraints raises profound questions about autonomy, dignity, and the meaning of intelligent life. Are we willing to accept permanent subjugation to external forces in exchange for survival? What does it mean to be an intelligent species if our development is managed and limited by external authorities? Can constrained civilization be considered truly successful, or does acceptance of external limits represent a fundamental failure of intelligence? The answers to these questions may determine not just our technological trajectory, but our fundamental identity as a species. The external constraint evidence forces us to consider whether true success for technological intelligence lies in unlimited expansion or in sustainable coexistence within larger cosmic systems. The choice may not be ours to make indefinitely. The intervention preparation signatures suggest that we're approaching decision points where external forces will determine our fate based on the technological paths we choose. Understanding these constraints may be our only opportunity to influence the outcome through informed choice rather than unconscious stumbling toward intervention triggers. But before we can make informed choices, we need to understand exactly how close we are to triggering external intervention and what alternatives might be available for sustainable technological development within externally imposed constraints. The most chilling aspect of the external constraint evidence is how rapidly our current civilization appears to be approaching the same intervention triggers that destroyed previous technological societies. Dr. Lisa Park's analysis of our current technological signatures reveals that we may be less than 2 decades away from crossing multiple intervention thresholds simultaneously, a convergence that could trigger the most devastating external response in Earth's history. The evidence comes from real-time monitoring systems that Dr. Park's team established to track our civilization's progress toward the known intervention triggers. These systems continuously analyze global technological development across all major domains, comparing our current capabilities to the threshold signatures identified in previous civilizations' quantum archaeological records.